Cool. Hello, everyone, again. So today the focus of this Coder Monday will be the Firebase Firestore database. And yep, to briefly look over our agenda, again, we can just, we got one more PR. That's great. So we'll just take a look at what it has in there. And then we will switch to our main focus of the session. So we will set up the Firebase Firestore and we will store new members in our Firestore database after they register. So specifically, again, we will talk about that more in detail when we get to that, but essentially we want to store their student number, right? And we want to store again, probably generate their unique ID so they can share it with other people. And yeah, I guess we can just think about different things that we can store. And then, okay, so generate shareable unique user IDs. So yeah, again, as a replacement for student numbers for our newly registered members. And then, yeah, just Raffle item at the end. So cool. Let's probably start then. So cool. So what we worked on during the last session was Google Auth, right? So it's like authentication with Google essentially. So now when we click in here, like you see that the window pops up, and here it has the snack bar saying that we are logged in as Conestoga DC. And yeah, so the new PR has this table, essentially like the dashboard. And yeah, it just essentially, if I hope it's somewhere here. Yeah, again, if we look at our dashboard, so this is like how it's designed essentially. And yeah, essentially this is one of the screens here. So it's not dynamic yet, but we will start working on the database, and this way you kind of will see we will be able to make the website dynamic. And then, yeah, the store is just something that we worked on, but yeah, no one took this ticket yet. So again, it's still available. I'll probably come up with some other stuff as well. So like one of the things probably is, you can see, like I think we should remove this back button here. So again, like when you click log out, right, you should be redirected back to the screen. But like yeah, I guess this back button should be here. Then what else are we missing? I guess, yeah, just so store. So again, if someone wants to work on this store, I guess the biggest kind of challenge with this store screen is just to arrange the items in that kind of grid order. I'm not entirely sure how to do that, so it's like it definitely requires some research. But you can see that essentially during our last session, I don't recall. Okay, sorry, I don't recall exactly what session it was, but yeah, this is what we worked on, right? So each of these pieces, right? So you can see they're like duplicated. Those are like our custom components, and you just need to readjust them so they look like this. So again, we just have an image and a button, but you probably want also to include the title, available items, and this thing as well. So yeah, like stuff like that. And again, good practice definitely with Flutter, but yeah, again, I will add some tickets, and then also some other stuff, I guess, is just to work on our admin panel. I even haven't designed the screens yet, but essentially just for people like I don't know, for our core team members to go there and again add store items, then see like maybe a more extended version of this dashboard, and then add extra coins to people who like again are active in the club and stuff like that. So yeah, and the MVP for this project will be done. Yeah, but for today what I want to do is whenever we, so yeah, essentially this is like what we did last time and what is new. But yeah, let's just cover what we want to do today. So when you click on this apply membership button, you can see that we are redirected to this screen. And like what we want to do is essentially we want to authenticate people. So right now you can see that when I click here, I do not get any pop-ups, right, about like login with Google and stuff like that. But essentially what we want to do, we want to copy this behavior. So you see that like we want this window to pop up, where again, it can be like within the screen itself, so or stuff like that. So when I click here, the user would authenticate with Google, and after that, they get redirected to the screen when they are applying for a membership, okay? And the main reason why we want to do that is just we want to get the information who, like what student referred them to this club, and also just again to kind of get their student number. And yeah, I guess that's kind of it. So uh, and after you click apply, what we will do, we'll write some again logic saying that okay, create a user in our Firestore database, and yeah, we'll just again explore how to set up the database and how to work with it. So okay, I guess any questions before we move on, or anything you want to clarify? Um, and yeah, next week I will try to host the session later in the day, so probably like at 6 or 7 p.m. Just I couldn't do it today because there is like another event going on at the college, so I didn't want like people to choose between those. So yeah, cool. So okay, set up Firebase Firestore. I will kind of use the same strategy as I did last time with the authentication. So I found this article again, like similar one, and again they just again explain step by step uh, um, what to do to set up this client Firestore. And probably, as you can see, it's one of the Google developer experts who wrote this article. So I think it, and they specialize in Dart, Flutter, and Firebase. So I think it's a good resource as well. So cool. Just as an overview, like again, it's very like the usual path that we take, right? So whenever you want to do anything with Firebase and for your project, you just again go to Firebase console, and again you navigate to your project, and here again you can see there are like a bunch of different things. So today we'll focus specifically on this Firestore database, and like in simple words, uh, cloud like Firestore is like a NoSQL database that Firestore gives us, and it's essentially on the cloud, right? So uh, it's uh, it's a lot of you can connect to it from a lot of different devices, right? And yeah, I guess this is like a brief overview of it, but I'll again I'll let just go over it here. So storing data into an online database and fetching them on user requests is one of the common features in the app. You either will need to write your own backend, or you can use the most popular Firebase service, Firestore database. To integrate Firestore into your application, there are a few steps to follow. So the first one is enable Firestore database from the console. So we will do it now, and then write code to add data and fetch data from Firestore database, and then write code to show fetch data on UI. So essentially, we will need, in our case, we'll need just like kind of two steps, right? So the first one, we'll need to set up the Firestore in the console. And then the second step will be, again, sync it with our code base. So again, add some configuration. And the third step, we already kind of have it done, right? We already have the UI for fetching the data, right? So we essentially what we will need to do here is just to fetch it from the screen and then store it in the Firestore. So Again, if there are any questions, just drop a message in the chat and I will try to answer. So, okay, so step one, enable Firestore database from the console. Go to Firebase console. On the left panel, click Firestore database. You will see the welcome screen and create database button. You can click on that button to start. You'll get a pop-up in the production mode or test mode. You can choose any based on your requirements. Once you create the database, you will get the screen as follows. And yep, let's do that. So I tried to do it like before that. So let's just, I'm not entirely, so you can see it like Firebase describes the difference between those two modes. So the production mode, your data is private by default. Client read-write access will only be granted as specified by your security rules. And then test mode, your data is open by default to enable quick setup. However, you must update your security rules within 30 days to enable long-term client read-write access. So essentially, like test mode is kind of temporary, and again, you will need to reconfigure it after 30 days. But I guess I'm not entirely sure what would be the best, but okay, let's go with the test. If the test doesn't work, we'll try to do the production. So after you've set this location, okay, so I guess that's fine. Enable, will you work? Please work. Okay, cool. It did work. I'm happy because right before the session, I tried to create a database and it failed. So I was like, okay, I will try doing this workshop. So okay, it seems like it's working. So you can see we created our own Cloud Firestore database for our project. And yeah, let's go next. So there are two main components of the Firestore database. So a document can be considered as the tables that we have in SQL. It is the unit of record that stores values in the key value form. And then a collection can be considered a container of documents. In other words, collection can be considered as the database we have in SQL and documents as the tables inside the database. So okay, so how many of you are familiar like with SQL databases? So we see there are like a few people here. So just um okay, cool. See one person. Anyone else? Yeah, just again say yes or no, so I know like what I need to explain, I guess. But essentially, like if you remember, right, in SQL databases, or if you're new to it, there are like tables, right? So you would have like friends table, or like in our case, let's have it. Let's look at our prototypes probably and like try to come up with different tables, right? So in our case, we'll have if we had a SQL table, right, we would have a SQL database. We would have a student table, right? So it would store like student records. Then we would have what else? I guess we would have items like store item data table as well, right? So it's here. I guess that's kind of it, probably. But yeah, essentially, again, you would have like IDs, unique identifiers, and a bunch of different properties in the table. It's kind of like essentially like Firestore, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's no SQL database, right? So it doesn't have those SQL constraints, and you do not need to normalize the database and stuff like that. There are like other, if you like do some research, there is also some common conventions and like common practices that you should follow when you work with NoSQL databases, right? So how you would create different documents and stuff like that. So here, right? So essentially, the data is mostly stored as JSON, right? So JSON is like key value pair. So like you would say like name is Bob, then what else? Email is Bob at gmail.com and stuff like that, right? So this is what key value pair means. And yeah, essentially, again, as they said here, collection can be considered as the database we have in SQL. And then, so essentially just collection has multiple documents in it, and a document is a table inside the database, right? So we would have, again, in our case, probably we'll just have, again, like member document, I guess, right? So we'd have like different members stored, and then we would have different store items stored, right? But today we'll just focus on members. So we'll just create our, again, I guess first document. For some reason, I thought it's vice versa, but okay, I guess I was wrong. So collection is the database in SQL, and then documents is an alternative to a table. Cool. I guess step 2. So write code to add data and fetch data from Firestore database. Now we are going to store basic user information in our database. You can read the article for Firebase authentication, in which we designed our login and register pages. In this example, we designed the register page to get the name and age of the user during registration. Let's first write the backend code to add data to Firestore and fetch data from it. So first, add Cloud Firestore package into your PubSpec YAML file. Now create a new file called database service dart, which will contain our logic and adding and fetching data from Firestore database. Here's how you write and read from Firestore. So essentially, if you recall, we try to put everything in services, right? So we have like utils here and authentication. So this should be renamed to authentication service, right? Because it's essentially, this class is a helper that we use to, again, sign the users in with Google. Yeah, we will follow the same like strategy as during the last session, right? But this time we will create a similar service, but for a database, right? So again, let's just do this. So create, again, before you work on any features, try to create a new branch. So we'll just call it like feature slash add, or I guess store members in Firestore, right? Well, you can see I'm here. I should push. Here it gives me the command to set up the remote. So essentially link my local branch to the GitHub's remote branch. So I run this command. Now it sync everything up. So everything's synced up. And then, yeah, let me just close all of that stuff. And again, it said that I need to install this Cloud Firestore package. And yeah, you can see here in the installing instructions, it gives you the command. So you just copy it. You go to your, again, Android Studio or whatever you develop your project. I just detached my console for some reason. And I don't know how to put it back. This is a very annoying thing. Okay, can I just close it? Okay. I don't know. Does anyone know how to fix it? But okay. Anyways, so I'll just run this command, and it should install this Cloud Firestore package, right? And you can see that changed one dependency, so it downloaded this Cloud Firestore, the latest version. And if I go and see my changes, you can see that it changed this PubSpec YAML and it added this package here, right? So as a dependency. Cool. So we installed the package, and then what else do we need? So let's create this database service Dart file. So I go here. Oh, sorry, not the screen, but the utility. I go and add the file called database service.dart. Cool. I add it to our Git. Cool. And yeah, so you can see here that there are two main commands, right, that we have here. So the first one is add user, and the other one is get user. Again, I'm not entirely sure. We kind of touched about those futures, like what is future during the last session. But again, I recommended you just watch some other videos about the explanation. But again, it's like promise in JavaScript if you're familiar with it. But essentially, like again, I'll try to explain again. Like some things run asynchronously, and you need to wait for some things. So, for instance, you see this await keyword is it means essentially like wait until I store this um, this object in the database, right? And we await for that step to happen. And in order, like syntactically, to be for it to be correct, we need to use this async keyword, right? And uh, and again, this method then becomes asynchronous, right? Because you need to await in it. And that's why we need to make the return type a future, right? And it's a future of type something. So you kind of, again, if we didn't make it asynchronous, so we imagine we didn't have this await and async keywords, then we wouldn't need this future keyword, right? We would just have string. But then again, if you use async or await, you need to like wrap the return type in this future, right? So it's kind of like this way. Okay, I'll just take this. Again, it's bad that I'm doing this, but for the sake of saving some time, yeah, I'll just do this. So let's probably briefly read through that. So in the method add user, we first created the instance of collection that we want. If the collection doesn't exist, Firebase will create one. Now, if you want to have the document ID as a custom name, here user email ID, we use user doc email set. If you want a unique random automatic generated ID, you can use users add directly, and it will generate a doc with a unique ID for you. Okay, so essentially, as you can see here, so here this tab is just we get a collection called users. So essentially, we get the. Okay, now I'm a little bit confused. Okay, so essentially, collection is like a table then, and then a document is like a single instance of something, right? So in this case, we have a collection called users, and as they described below, if it doesn't exist, it will create it here, and then if it exists, it will just get it, and then this tab it just kind of sets email as the unique ID of the user, right? But probably I'm not entirely sure if we want to do that, but I'm actually thinking maybe email is a good thing. Maybe instead of it, instead of the instead of uniquely generating a unique ID for the user, we can maybe just use an email as well. But I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we'll just keep it as we'll just use this add method, as they say. And yeah, again, they just return like success string just to make sure that kind of everything works, I guess. So, and then get user, it's the same kind of step, but in here, they just get a snapshot of the document, and then they say document, so snapshot data, and again, they convert it into this key value pair. So it's like called map. Again, it's a common concept, like generally in all the languages. So it's in some languages it's called dictionaries, maps, hash maps, whatever. It's like the same thing essentially. So the key is a string, and then the value can be anything. So dynamic means anything, and then return data full name. So we just return the full name. So you provide us an email, and we return the full name. But probably for today's session, we just need this method, and that'll be good enough. And Yeah. Okay, let's go there again. So to our database service, I just copy it, and okay. Okay, how do I dock it? I need to figure out how to do that. Okay, cool. There was a button. Cool. So as I just said, we don't need this method, and we will probably change this a little bit. So we do not need age. We do not need full name. Maybe we will need email. So again, just let's think about what we need to store in our collection, right? So what we need to store in the database. So um, actually, maybe full name will help, just because we will display it on our scores, right? So as on this dashboard, we will display the number. Sorry, the user's name. So that's why we need full name probably. Then we will need the number of coins they have, right? Um, then what else? Student number, I guess. And then something else. Do you think we need something else? So okay, let me return it to whatever it was. So full name. Okay. Then we have email. Then we probably need to have what else? What else? What else? Coins, right? So is there like an integer or something? Int. And we'll just say like coins or like balance. I guess let's just call it balance, and then or maybe total coins. Maybe it's better. What else do we need? We need a student number, so required, it will be a string, and it's a student number. I think completely I like this format more, but okay. Name non-constant identifiers. Okay, it wants the camel case. Okay, let's convert it to camel case then. I believe this case with an underscore, it's called snake case, and you usually like store you use snake case for the NoSQL databases. So like this, you see, even in the example, they use the snake case for the Firebase. Okay, so what we want here is we want so call the user's collection reference to add a new user. So let's do this. Cool. And as they said in the article, we probably again will not use email as a unique identifier. We'll just do users add and then object, and it should, as they said, it should generate a unique ID for us. So we'll see if it works or not. And then so we have full name, we have email, and let's just again email here. And again, all of this stuff, so all of this, you can see that these are parameters, right? And we'll pass those values from the UI, or whenever, again, we will get part of this data. So we will get the full name and email by from Google itself, right? Because when user logs in with their Google account, we can see like a bunch of different stuff, right? So again, about them. So like last time, again, during the last session, you see here, where are we? If I do here, you can see the user has a lot of things here. So this is like what Google gives us, right? It's from authentication. So again, when you sign in with Google, when a user signs in with Google, this is all the data that we can see from there. So we can see if their display name, their email, their like a bunch of other stuff, phone number, photo, URL, then yeah, and stuff like that, essentially. So Cool. Probably instead of full name, we should have like we should call it like username, right? And then user name, then username. Cool. Okay. So we have this, and just for okay, I'll just rearrange the order of those. Cool. And then email. So we have email. Then we have student number. Again, for the database, I just use the snake case, and here is assignment here. And then we have total coins. Again, probably when a user signs in, right? So when a user when we apply, when a user applies for membership, we want to give them 5 coins right away, right? Do you think it's a good idea or something? So yeah, we will probably do this, and then and we will remove that piece. So we'll not have that. And yeah, actually, we can just say that it's like 5 by default. Is that allowed? Default or required modifier? Yeah. So you see, we just signed that total coins by default is 5. So then I do like total coins here. Cool. And that's kind of it. So we have set up this database service. So again, I will just create, so like create a database service, and then click commit. Cool. And we go back. So like write code to show fetch data on UI. So again, in our case, we kind of already have that, right? We have this screen already. We just, again, we want to do a few steps here and there. So I guess that's it. And after they do that, so let's display the name on the home page. So your home page should look like the following. Okay. Yeah, I guess we don't need this article anymore. We will just try to follow, like try to do what is needed right now. So again, we created a database service that has one method called add user. So whenever we call it and pass those arguments, whenever we call this method with those arguments, we'll just we'll create a new user. And then essentially, and this membership application screen, right? So let's just, sorry, I want to see a few things. Okay. So when you click apply for membership, or maybe it's store screen, membership application, dashboard, none. Okay, so if you remember from, so this is the piece that we wrote, right? The code is very confusing. It definitely needs a lot of refactoring, so it's like easier to follow. But okay, we'll just keep this for now. So you can see like this piece is what we did last time, right? After we created our authentication service. So we have like the user, and we authenticate with Google, and then we say, and then we go to the dashboard screen, and then we do what? We show a snack bar with the username, right? Display name here. So, and that's essentially it. So let's just, what we will do, we'll kind of copy this piece, and whenever we click on, where are we? So apply for membership. Yeah, so you can see it here. So when you click, so again, let me probably show it to you on the screen, right? So login screen is this one, right? So again, whenever I click on the login with Google, this window pops up, and it prompts me to enter some data. And then we want to do kind of the same thing for this button, right? So this button is here, right? So you can see apply for membership, and this is the on-pressed method, right? So whenever, for now, again, what we have is whenever we click on this button, whenever we press on this button, we just redirect to the membership application screen, right? So you can see here. But what we want to do is we want to prompt the user to authenticate with Google, okay? So this is what we will do. So I, again, just copy and paste the same code. And then I say, okay, if the user is not null, I will redirect them to not to the dashboard screen, but to the membership application screen. Okay? Like this. And I just need to remove this stuff. I just don't need it for this method. And do not use build context across sing caps. Okay, what do you suggest? Roll back the changes. Does it comply? Okay, it works for now. So I guess let's just keep it, and we'll try to find the solution, a better solution for this. If you know what the issue here is, just let me know. Okay. So again, what we do, we prompt the user. So again, this is all we need to prompt the user to sign in with Google, right? Because we have our authentication service already. So, and then if the user is fine, then we just like the user logged in successfully, we just redirect them to this membership application screen. And then in here, what we do is, okay, let me just refresh, I guess, this page, and you will see that now when I click on this membership, apply for membership, it asks me to authenticate, so it authenticates me, right? And only then it redirects me. So this is the first step that we need. Now we need to fetch the data that we enter here. So we need the student number. It's like, again, whatever it is, and then refer student number. But again, for now, let's keep it this way. So again, we will keep it as a student number for now, but then again, we'll change it to something else in the future, again, because we discussed that we don't want to make, we don't want other people to share their student numbers because it's kind of sensitive. So yep. Okay, so let's see. Whenever you click on this apply button, right, we want to write a handler for this apply button. And whenever you click on this apply button, this is when we use our database service to store the member data in the Firestore, right? So let me go here so you can see this is our apply button here, right? And then this is our unpressed. And what we want to do here is whenever you press this apply button, we want to say that, firstly, we want to fetch, let's outline everything with the comments, okay? So, I still have 20 minutes. That's good. So firstly, we want to fetch user data from the screen, okay? So I will explain how to do that. Then in our case, it will be what will it be? It's student number, right? And then refer student number. So like student number, and then refer student number. Okay. Then the second step will be to create use our database service to create a new user in our Firestore DB. And the next step for the future, we will not do it today probably because we will not have time, but essentially we want to update the referrer user and add a few coins to their total points, right? So essentially, we kind of reward the referrer member, and we just will add a few coins, like probably 5 or something like this, to their total balance. And what else do we have? Yeah, and I guess after that we just redirect the user to the dashboard screen. Okay, and yeah, that's kind of it. Do you think I missed anything or any questions about that before we move on? Okay, so let's then work on the first step. So we need to fetch the data from these fields. The question is how. Does anyone know how? Any ideas? We discussed that concept like during the second session or something. Anyone? Everyone's very quiet. I hope you're still there. Yeah, but anyways, we need to use the stateful widget, right? Because like stateless widget, what it does, it like doesn't hold any data in it. It just again, it's static, right? So it doesn't have any state in it. And yeah, we want to convert it to the stateful widget, right? So this way we will get some what yeah, we will be able to store some state, and in our case we just need to store we will need to store the student number, right? So let me take a look how it's done, because I kind of forgot it. Okay, so done. Okay, so yeah, the first thing, I guess, we need to get an instance of. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention one more step here. So before we actually store our database, we want to retrieve all the other data we need from the Firebase auth service or instance, right? So what it means, it's essentially we asked before before a user gets redirected to the screen, we ask them to log in, and we do that to get all the other information about them, right? So that we will store in the database. So in our case, it will be email and full name or display name or username, whatever. And yeah, this is what it means essentially. So for now, let's again just do the following. So we need a few things. So we need 2 strings, right? So string called student number, right? And then we need another string called referrer student number. And it's whatever at late modifier. Non-nullable field must be initialized. Okay. So we need to give it some kind of default or something. You're complaining. You shouldn't complain. Does anyone know? So add light modifier. Okay, or we can just give it like the default of empty, I guess. But okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So, and then what we do here is whenever. Sorry, I'm just looking at the other example. I just to make sure I do the right thing. So we have a few text fields, right? Or at least we should have. So we have this text form field. Okay, what does it accept Does it accept on input? So unchanged. Okay. So whenever we change a value inside the text input, right, text form field, we call this unchanged method, and we have one argument there, value, like parameter essentially. That's and it is a new value that was entered, right? And whenever like we enter this thing, we want to say that our student number, and we update our student number, right? So this is essentially it. And then we do the same, exactly the same thing for our other field. Again, I really want to refactor this code, but okay, we'll do later. Probably you need a dedicated session for that. So unchanged. So again, and we do the same, we accept the value. And here we just have, again, refer student number. We just do refer student number, and we say, okay. So something like this. So, and then essentially what it does for us, we change, we fetch the input from the screen, right? And now we can access it whenever we click on this apply button, right? So this step is essentially kind of done. So fetch user data from the screen, student number, refer student number. So we already have done it, right? So it's complete. Then retrieve all the other data we need from the Firebase auth instance. So to do that, we actually need to create this Firebase auth instance. And again, this Firebase auth thing, it gives us all the information about the logged in user. Okay, so Firebase instance, and we just do this. I believe it's like this. Okay. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so we essentially want to get a few things. So we want to get email, right? And we say auth, and we say current user, and we say email. And then we do the same thing for, okay, it complains already. I don't like that, but okay. So it's to now, okay, we want username, and we will say auth current user, and it will be called probably, let's do like display name for now. And why are you complaining? Change. Okay, it complains that it can be null. Okay, yeah, let's just follow those suggestions. So again, this question mark, I explained it last time. It means nullable, right? So essentially, if you just have it like this, so string strictly, it means that this username can only be a string. It cannot be null. But this is called nullable string, and what it does, it allows this variable to contain a null value. So that's essentially it. Cool. So retrieve all the other data we need from the Firebase. So again, what do we need? What other stuff do we need? What does this thing accept? So yeah, just username and email, student number, we get it from the screen, and that's it. So okay, this step is also done. And then use our database service to create a new user in our Firebase DB. So what we do is we have database service, right? So I do this. And then, okay, let's make this method static. Probably it's bad, or maybe let's. I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's take a look at this example here. So in their case, what do they do? You see, they create an instance of the service and then they invoke it. Okay, fine. We can do the same. Last time we kind of did it with the static method, but I heard like it's better practice to actually do it with as instance methods. But anyways, it doesn't really matter for us too much. So okay, let's just do the following. We'll actually for now say um, okay, probably what we will do is we will make, you see it complains here that the argument is a nullable string. Sorry, a parameter is must be just strictly a string, but we pass it a nullable string, right? So what we will do here, we'll just make sure, so if email is not null, and what else? Username is not null, is not null, then we do this and hope for the best. Okay. So you see now it stopped complaining. We need to await it because this method is asynchronous, right? And then we need to do this thing here. It's also complain. Okay, so what this should do, it should create a new user for us. And so it should create a new record in our Firestore. So again, we did this as well. We'll test it in a minute. And then the last step is redirect the user to the dashboard screen. So to do that, again, you use this navigator helper, if I remember correctly, and then you do like push or push named, right? We have the named routes, right? So push named, and then the context, and here we do so dashboard screen, and then we just do ID. And it should be fine. So we have this step as well. The only thing, again, for the future sessions, or again, probably I will create a ticket for that. I will really appreciate if someone can work on that piece. So again, it's just like general logic. So whenever we want to create another method here to update a user, right, and we will pass an ID, right, and we will just, again, probably the number of coins as well. And this update method will update the total coins that the user has, right? And this way we kind of reward the users that referred other people, right? Cool. Let me refresh it. And the moment of truth. So I guess this is it. So if I start a collection, okay, collection ID, let's call it users. Next. What do you want? Okay. It just, you see, it wants me to create this. Okay, let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, we'll try to solve the issue. But okay, this, like, theoretically it should be fine. So yeah, let me actually, like, I will stop this, I guess. So let me stop everything, and I'll like rerun it from scratch to see if it works or no. So waiting. Yeah, in the meantime, any questions or anything? Okay, what I will do now, I think, is I will give you, while it's all loading and while I test it, I will send a feedback form to you. Please fill it out, and after that, we will do a raffle item. Again, yeah. Again, I will take the names there, so please do fill it out, and then yeah, you have like whatever, like 5 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Okay, and then in the meantime, let's test it as well. So when I apply for a membership, you see it asks me to authenticate. Since I already like logged in previously, it's all fetching the data automatically. Now I do like student number. Again, we do not verify. We do not have any verification. But anyways, we'll just pretend that we are like we have some kind of verification for now. And yeah, I click apply. Okay, you saw that the small delay. So it did something. So it sent the request, and now it redirected me to the dashboard. I also saw that it threw an error. I'm not entirely sure what exactly. But anyways, let's see if it. So if I refresh it, does it have anything here? Okay, fantastic. Congratulations to us. So you see that this is what happened. So it fetched my email, It fetched my username. It saved five. I received 5 coins, and because I am a new member, and it saved my student number. You see, the only thing it didn't generate the unique ID. This is, you see, this is the problem. Or I guess this one is kind of a unique, like a unique document ID here. Yeah, but that's not really what we want. We want also probably we want to use some kind of package to generate like unique user IDs that are shareable. So you will share it instead of your student number. So yeah, but again, that's great. We kind of achieved our goal for today. The only thing, we just don't generate the unique usernames, right? So again, here I do, what do I do? How I need to make a commit. So, and so store, save the user, save a new user, or when they apply for a membership. Okay, so I commit the thing, and yeah, I just push it. I go here. You can see that I can create a pull request. And yeah, I want to merge it in main, create a pull request. And again, it's just checking that everything's all right. And yeah, and again, I just should merge this. So I confirm the merge. And yeah, I do branch. Cool. So again, I think we did very well today. And yeah, I guess that's it for for now. Let's just again, please fill out the feedback, and again, don't be afraid to add some criticism. I guess it just helps me to see what I can improve. So yeah. Okay, so let me see if anyone submitted anything yet. So coding Monday referral, 2 responses. Okay, one more. So I believe it's so Danielle. Would you be able to submit your feedback, please? Yeah, I think you're the last one here. So cool. Okay, great. So essentially, while we are waiting, I just again, we already have the majority of the setup done, right? So we have set up the authentication, we have set up the Firebase, Firestore database, and essentially this is all we need. Um, like the majority of the things we need for our app, right? Actually, now that I'm talking about saying that, I probably also we should have included another attribute like in our database service here called like is admin, right? So is admin, and by default it's like false, right? Unless it's for now it will be like modified manually by someone who has access to the database, right? So for instance, I would go to this database and I would modify this collection manually. You still can see that you can modify the data here as well, right? So probably this is another like property that we need to store, right? So as admin, then we need to generate a new key, like unique shareable ID. And again, essentially the store, again, the item is kind of the same thing, right? So you just will have an image URL, you will have a like title, you will have stock, you will have the price, and that's it essentially, right? Also, I think another collection that we will need to have is purchases, right? So whenever a user purchases something, we will we'll need to track that. So an admin can go like to the orders or something like this, Probably this is another actually. This is another tab that needs to be here, like orders, and then an admin will go there and then process this order. So this way, again, if it's like swag item, then someone from our core team can like send it to you or something like this. So yeah, I guess that's it. But again, I hope you got like the gist of it. And yeah, again, it's very similar. You go to the database service, you add a new method, and yeah, then you just invoke those methods anywhere you need, I guess. So cool. Actually, maybe next time I will introduce you to a singleton pattern, design pattern, just to I will explain what it is, and yeah, maybe we'll work next time. We'll work on refactoring, because again, I just look at this code and I just want to change a lot of things here. But yeah, just again, so to make it more readable and stuff like that. So again, we will cover it next time. Let me check the responses. Okay, still 2, but I guess it's fine. So let me go here, select the wheel, random number generated. Or sorry, random. The code there. I entered the names. Okay, so cool. What people do we have? So Christopher, Daniel, so okay. Okay, so the price is gift card, so $20 as usual, I guess. And again, I just want to remind you that at the end of the semester, um, the most active contributor will get like a prize and recognition from the club as well. So I do encourage you to like work on the features and on the tickets. I will make a post on our Discord again. I will create new tickets. So again, you just go to the repo, to projects here, and you can see there are still a few tickets left, or 1 ticket left. I guess this one is done. Yeah, just 1 ticket left. But again, I will add more here, and you can work on them, right? And again, the complexity of the work that you do and the amount of it counts, right? So yeah, please keep it in mind. Okay, let's do that now. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. I guess Christopher, congratulations again. I remember last time you won it. It's like, yeah, but that's great. Cool. Yeah, just ping me on Discord, I guess. And yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, and Daniel, I will appreciate if you can submit the feedback as well, just so I can again look over it, and it helps me to improve. So yeah, but I will pause. I will stop the recording.